be performing a song. So you can take the kids on the other side in order to practice the song, please. We are ready, so you can have a seat, please.
I got your message. That's such a good place.
So I'd like to introduce myself first of all. Ala Basatne, I'm from Damascus, Syria. I'm studying political science and currently a resident of Chicago, Illinois.
Noor Al-Masri from Damascus, living in Chicago. I have a master's degree in business information technology from Stockholm.
Well, today's event, we have 29 other cities internationally hosting this memorial for the children's rights in Syria. We will start off with the Syrian national anthem, so please rise.
We do have three organizations sponsoring this event: Amnesty International, UNICEF, and Refugee One. We do have a petition for everyone to sign at that table. We'd like to submit it for Clinton.
Sorry. Another thing, the t-shirts we're wearing, they are being sold in the back for a minimum of $20, and this is a donation. It goes for the cost of the event along with other events, inshallah.
Our first speaker is going to be Blaine from Amnesty International. Please welcome Blaine.
Hello, friends of Syria. Hello, friends of freedom. I wish you all peace. But sadly, instead of peace, the people of Syria faced brutal oppression to their nonviolent protests, including the killing and torture of many children. My name is Blaine Miniman. I'm the area coordinator for the state of Illinois for Amnesty International. For those who don't know about Amnesty International, we're the world's largest global human rights organization with about 3 million members worldwide. Because of our size, and because of the reputation we've earned over 50 years of human rights work, governments pay attention when Amnesty intervenes on behalf of those who are on the front lines fighting for human rights. And we tell the authorities that we are watching and we demand justice. So I'm here today to show Amnesty's support for the people of Syria and to join our voice with the people around the world to say, we demand justice for the children in Syria. Would you please say it with me? We demand justice for the children in Syria.
We demand justice for the children in Syria.
Once more, we demand justice for the people and children of Syria.
We demand justice for the children of Syria.
In the past 4 months, as you all well know, Syrian forces have besieged towns, shelled residential areas, arrested hundreds, tortured detainees, and killed many. Amnesty considers that the acts committed by the Syrian government may well be crimes against humanity, and they appear to be part of a widespread as well as systematic attack against the civilian population. For more detailed information, please go to our website, aiusa.org. There's a petition there to sign and a lot of good information. We also document as the atrocities occur. We're the witness to what's happening, and we put out a press release on July 19th. Amnesty International fears torture for dozens held in Syria following mass arrests in Damascus suburb. And on July 4th, we had a press release, crackdown in Syria, terror in, Tel Khalid. Thank you. And it documents one town's devastating encounter with the Syrian security forces, resulting in deaths in custody, torture, and arbitrary detention of civilians. Human rights abuses committed by the security forces in Syria have been shocking. Witnesses tell us, for example, that in that town the Syrian military used snipers and heavy artillery to crush the protests. Amnesty has asked the Syrian authorities permission to enter the country to investigate the alleged human violations firsthand, but the Syrian authorities have failed to take any steps to end the violence and have instead intensified repression. So what has Amnesty done so far? Since the outbreak of the protests in Syria earlier this year, we've repeatedly urged the Syrian government to rein in their security forces, cease unlawful killings and other excessive force, and for those responsible to be brought to justice. The Syrian authorities have failed to take these steps and continue to intensify the repression. Consequently, Amnesty International has called on the United Nations Security Council to condemn the violent crackdown and to refer Syria to the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, or the ICC. In May, over 166,000 people from around the world, including most courageously those living in Syria, signed a petition supporting the call for the crisis in Syria to be referred to the ICC, to the International Criminal Court, and urging the President to stop the bloodshed. We are now also asking South Africa, Brazil, and India to support the United Nations Security Council action. They are on the Security Council and are wavering on their support, so our petition online is to get them to continue or to support the sanctions. We've also asked the Syrian government to protect child protesters, to immediately release all children detained in the peaceful exercise of their human rights, to ensure that children are only imprisoned as a measure of last resort, and to ensure that complaints and torture or other ill treatment, including those committed against children below the age of 18, are promptly and effectively investigated, bring to justice and fair trials, and without recourse to the death penalty, persons identified as having participated in the killings. And then again, back to the United Nations, we're calling for the Security Council to refer the situation to the International Criminal Court, to impose an arms embargo and freeze the assets of the Syrian president. We believe that some of these actions may be crimes against humanity, but the Security Council has yet to act. They're considering a resolution which could be the first crucial step to obtaining justice for these victims. So please, we have a petition also, or not a petition, but rather just a sign up for information. If you would sign up there, we can get you information that you can follow up online. I'd like to conclude by reading excerpts from a letter recently written by our Executive Director, Larry Cox, entitled After Revolution, Perseverance. And Larry starts by saying, the human rights revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt electrified the world. Those who risk their lives to topple repressive regimes and demand their rights now face the arduous work of dismantling decades-long legacies of repression, brutality, and economic deprivation. And as the revolutionary spirit has spread throughout the regions, governments in Bahrain, Libya, Iraq, and Syria have responded to popular upheavals with brutal violence. The leaders of these regimes are counting on the rest of the world to lose interest. They're betting on our indifference. Our mission is to make them lose that bet. That means that remembering the other great truth of our work in human rights. The fight for human rights is long, and it's hard, and it's often costly in its claim on human life. Victories can only be won by the most essential quality of every great movement, perseverance. Larry concluded the letter by saying, at Amnesty International, we persevere in order to honor the human rights defenders on the front lines. So today, we honor those in the front lines in Damascus and across Syria, and you all for coming out in their support. Today, we demand justice for the children in Syria. I wish you all peace.
Thank you, Blaine. I would like to talk about the posters we have over here. There are 10 posters. They were made by Syrian youth in 29 other cities globally. These posters actually talk about the story of how the butcher, Hafez al-Assad, gained power, and on the back there are the rest up to where it leads to the revolution. So please take a look at them. These posters will be in different libraries throughout Illinois. And now I'd like to actually call Mehdi Sahlul up to the podium. Originally from Hamas, Syria, he's an executive member of the debate team in school, and he volunteers at many events for the sake of Syria. So thank you and welcome, Mehdi.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. At the end of April, a 13-year-old boy was kidnapped, tortured, and killed. From then on, the face of Hamza Ali al-Khatib has been the face of the youth of the Syrian revolution. But not only Hamza, it was Hajar, Malak, Ubaida, Thaib, and all the other children that gave up their lives for freedom, justice, and democracy in Syria. And I ask myself, brothers and sisters, why were we chosen to live in the US? Why are we blessed with rights others in Syria are dying for? What makes us better than them? Who are we to complain about the power going out for less than 2 hours because of a thunderstorm? The people in Syria are managing to live without electricity and without water. Can you imagine the children in Syria suffering of thirst? But yet, they still go out and protest because they know they're protesting for their futures. We can stand outside day and night without getting harmed, but the people of Syria don't even dare to go outside past 6 o'clock because the dreaded police will arrest them and torture them. The youth of Syria stand tall, and it is our duty to stand tall with them, whatever the situation is. We need to mobilize what energy we have to help out our brothers and sisters in Syria. We all need to drop our past disagreements, our egos, and think about what we can do to help. Just remember that on Monday, the majority of Syrians will be fasting, and yet they will remain united and strong, and inshallah, they will remain united regardless of their religions and ethnic backgrounds. We have the rights others in Syria are dying for, so think before you complain about a small issue because the Syrian people have it worse. I will end with a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous peaks of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Nile River in Egypt. Let freedom ring from the olive trees in Palestine. And let freedom ring through the streets of Syria. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mahdi. Next, we're gonna have Dr. Bara Sarraj, who spent 12 years in Assad's regime prison and came here to the United States and got his PhD. We're honored to have Dr. Bara Sarraj among us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm going to talk in Arabic. Sister Ala asked me to talk about the children in Syria.